But how quickly, when something goes wrong, how quickly can you refocus and re-engage? That's the game within the game.
We often used to say, be present, not perfect.
Love that.
Be present,
Yeah.
not perfect.
As soon as we can help remove some of that pressure, by going, oh, like I don't have to be perfect. No, you don't need to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect. Don't try to be perfect. How quickly can you respond when something goes wrong?
Welcome to Limitless Minds, the podcast where curiosity meets greatness. If you're ready to discover what it takes to be truly limitless and push beyond your own limits, you're in the right place.
Welcome back to the Success Leaves Clues podcast. This is the summer series with myself and Josh Lifrak, and we are talking about mental conditioning tools for you parents out there of athletes who have a busy summer, or they're getting ready for a fall season, tryouts, club sports, high school sports, whatever it is. We're here as parents of athletes ourselves to share some tips that we've learned from our years of working in the industry and years of being parents. So this is session 3 in the summer series. Josh, how are we doing?
I'm phenomenal today. I'll tell you, let me tell you why I'm phenomenal.
Please.
Because we're going to talk about one of the you and I are going to just talk about elites today.
Yeah.
And I love talking about the elites because you can learn. Success leaves clues, right, Travis? Success leaves clues. So just learning from being around them, and then also just watching them now. You and I kind of get a little bit more of a, we can take a step back. We could take a step back from the pro sports world, and we can just kind of watch and observe and see some of the great qualities that are out there. It's kind of fun.
I love it. And speaking of which, right, we're in summer now. It's like, it feels like not only every day, every week, there's a big sporting event. There's something new, and it's like you get to see these elite behaviors happening all the time. And so for me, the one that stands out to me recently, Josh, was, again, if we go back a year ago, we're celebrating Rory McIlroy for finally winning the Masters.
Yep.
Completing, the career Grand Slam, if you will, for majors. And then you come into this season and going into the third round of the Masters, he is the largest lead going into 3 rounds? I think it was
something like that. Yeah.
Something
second,
ridiculous.
Third round, largest lead. Yeah.
So at that point, you're like, hey, he won this last year, right? Sure, he's feeling pressure, but like, man, is he set up to kind of run away with this thing? And by the end of round 3, he's 1 stroke or 2 strokes back. He gave it all away in one day, which, is unfortunate. And people were like, oh, wow, Rory choked this one away. And like, well, there's another round to be played, right? This tournament's not over. And so you get into that 4th round, and at one point he'd even fallen back a few more shots, but it was like that mentality. And I love how Rory is so vocal about his mentality now and how it's shifted over the years with age. But his willingness to just stay present, to play the next shot, to play the next hole, knowing that bad things are going to happen.
That's it.
But how do I respond? And again, to that 4th round where it was like the stock market, players are just going up and going down, and and then at the end of the day, who's tapping it in to win his back-to-back, major title? And so I just love just the resilience, the mental resilience that he displayed in dealing with, dealing with what people, again, oh, he's choking this one away, or to deal with a bad round, or to deal with a bad moment, and that ability to be like neutral. Hey, here's where I am. Here's where I was. Here's where I am. What am I going to do now?
What I got to do.
What do I do? What am I going to do now? And and to have that from hole to hole, round to round, but really shot to shot. And it's just, with the biggest pressure on the line, to be able to see that is really cool to watch.
Yeah, and it's amazing. These athletes, they learn how to deal with that pressure. They learn through being put into the fire and losing and suffering massive pain. But you have to kind of do that as an athlete. You have to kind of open your heart to the possibility of tragedy, and that's what Rory had done throughout the years, and he's really vocal about it. It's awesome. And then, here he is, 2-time master champion, back-to-back, really, 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 really beautiful and really impressive. What did he say? Took him 14 years to win 1, and now it's taking him 2 years to win 2.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact quote, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. the old bamboo analogy, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
it might take a while to see that success, but once we have it, right,
Boom. It
that
goes.
it can take off in a hurry. Yeah.
That's it.
What,
That's
yeah.
it.
What do you got?
So again, for listeners of this podcast, they're well aware that I'm a Gooner at heart. I love Arsenal Football Club in London, North London forever. And Arsenal played in the EFL Cup final, and they got smoked 2-0 by Manchester City. They then kind of went on a little bit of a run in April where they didn't play well.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
admittedly they didn't play well. They dropped a bunch of points in the Premier League. They ended up losing a head-to-head battle versus Manchester City, which drew Manchester City even with them on points in the Premier League. And at that point, the Arsenal players, after they lost that game, one of them specifically named Declan Rice, walked around the pitch to the other players, screaming at them, "It's not done yet." Because they still had, Manchester City had 6 games left, and Arsenal had 5 games left at that point, 4 games, 5 games left at that point. And so, and they were also in another competition called the Champions League, which is legitimately the most prestigious title
Yeah.
outside the World Cup that you
Yeah.
can win. And they're still in that. And so it was really interesting because they were in a bad form, but they found a way. And after that Manchester City game, they've given up 1 goal in all competitions. They've advanced to the Champions League final for the first time in 20 years. They've reestablished themselves with a 5-point lead over Manchester City, who drew to Everton. And Arsenal has won their 3 Premier League games 1-0, 3-0, and then 1-0 again.
Mm.
And so these guys talk about like just getting the job done
Yeah.
and finding a way. Now, there's still 2 games left to play for Arsenal. If they win both of those games, they win the title for the first time in 22 years, which would be amazing. But they still got to win those 2 games. And I was listening to the person who scored the winning goal yesterday in an interview, and they said, it kind of puts you right there. And he said, yeah, but we're not there yet. We still got 2 more to go. And I love that. I love that refrain of getting back into the positive. The manager said, this is a great day. We're going to celebrate. And now we got about 24 hours, and then we got to get our focus squarely on the next match, which is against Burnley. And so I just love, they've done this all year where they recognize it's a marathon. They recognize that this season, 38 games in the league is really hard. There's going to be ups and downs, and they've managed the downs really well, where they've gotten back to even, and they said, okay, this is what's next, and they move forward. So hopefully that continues. Again, knock on wood, Hamza, Hamza, Hamza. They got 2 more games left, but their ability to just respond. Every time they've gotten knocked down, they've responded with like a 12-game win streak or an 11-game unbeaten streak or a 5-game unbeaten streak or whatever. They've answered the bell, and they come back to neutral, and they just keep on moving forward. So really impressed with them.
And when we talk about, it's really, in a lot of ways, when you talk about, mental toughness, it's resilience, right? We're talking about how resilient are you? How resilient are you after a bad play, after a bad moment, after a bad game, after a bad stretch? How resilient are you, and how quickly do you rebound, right? That's what it's about. It's not about the perfection. It's about the resilience. And, that's obviously, what we teach, or what are those mindset skills and tools and principles that help us build that resiliency. Because like you said, we're not avoiding, and, we're never going to avoid the setbacks and the adversity. It's how resilient are we in navigating them and going through them and growing. And
Absolutely.
Last session we talked about neutral thinking. We introduced neutral thinking maybe to a new audience, and how we can help parents of athletes, how we can help the athletes themselves. And so each week, Josh, you and I share a nooch nugget of how we have used neutral thinking just to navigate, everyday life for ourselves, whether it's parenting, whether it's the work, corporate stuff, or whether it's just our own adventures as well. So neutral nuggets, you got something for us this week?
I got the adventure of Harissa that's my neutral nugget. I'm going to title it that. So for my wife, I wanted to make her this wonderful Middle Eastern breakfast. It's called shashuka.
Okay.
She loved it. She's from Israel, so that's a beautiful dish that you can get over there all the time. And so I wanted to make it for her, to make her a special morning for her. But there's an ingredient called harissa, which you need to have in it. And unfortunately, my local grocery store didn't have it. So I went there and I was like, they don't have it. So I'm like, So
Come on, Publix.
frustration.
Come on, Publix.
Come on. It wasn't Publix. It was Trader
Oh,
Joe's. Trader
oh,
Joe's.
oh,
Sorry. I didn't want
TJ's.
to throw Trader Joe's under the
TJ's.
bus, but
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, what am I? Oh, no, so then it was a matter of where can I go to make sure they get harissa? And it was like, there was frustration, there was annoyance, but then it was just like, okay, really? This is going to take me 3 extra minutes to go across the street to Publix to get the harissa. So it was like, so I go over there and you know what? They were sold out of harissa. They did not have it, strangely enough. So now I'm 0 for 2. Thankfully, I have enough time. It's the afternoon before. I had started the afternoon before to prepare this. And there's a place called the International Market here in Sarasota, Florida. And they have all sorts of stuff. So of course they, before going out there, I called them to make sure they had it. They had it. I went out there. I got it. But it was just like, it was funny because I was like, I think in the past, before I even understood neutral thinking, I would have just gotten really frustrated.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I'll make it with something else. I'll just use this chili paste or something like that. But I just kind of took a step back and I said, no, you know what, this needs, the recipe's calling for harissa. And let me just call the different places and figure it out. And of course I did. And then, you find a way. To that end, my mother-in-law was over as well to have the shashuka. She said, this is the best shashuka she's had in recent memory. So the harissa was crucial in the shashuka when my Israeli grandmother complimented it. Come on. Next level.
Well
Let's go.
done. So neutral,
Mother-in-law,
elite.
my Israeli mother-in-law.
That's high praise. So
Huge.
neutral for you was like just dealing with, hey, they don't have it. What do I do now? They don't have it. What do I do now?
Yep.
Right now, and trying to control the level of frustration or stories that we create about,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it was just time, right? So I ended up probably 45 minutes for something that should have taken 5 minutes, and it's okay. Like there is no should, it just was what it was.
Yeah.
And so eventually I was able to get what I needed to get. And that was the whole thought process too. It was like, I'm going to win this. Like I'm going to win the harissa, the Chronicles of Harissa. I'm going to be the hero in this story. We're going to get it.
I love it. So Josh, I
didn't walk out of the store with it above my head going, oh, that did not happen. Although it is reported to have happened that I was carrying it above, like screaming, yes,
as just golden light.
Yes, just shine.
Behind
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you dip that nooch nugget in, Josh?
I mean, the harissa. You dip it right in the harissa.
It's gotta be the harissa.
What are we talking about here?
Is it spicy? Is it tangy? What,
it's got a little bit of spice to it. Absolutely. It's got a little heat to it. It's a pepper. It's a red pepper spiced dish. It's Moroccan.
I love it.
Delicious.
Awesome. Great example. All right. Let me take everyone to the world of Travis's pickleball, where a few weeks ago, Josh,
I have not played you in pickleball yet.
I attended. I went to the facility, and they were having a duper rating session. For those of you who don't know, duper is how you get, basically it's like your golf handicap. It's your pickleball handicap. And so when you do events and things like that, you do it based on what your duper rating is. I did not have a duper rating, even though I've been playing a ton. And so I was like, cool, this will be great. So I end up, Josh, because I don't have a duper rating, I get put in the group with the really, really low duper players. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Because I realize it's going to be hard for me to get probably an accurate duper because I'm only playing against low duper rated people, right? So I need to play against higher rated duper people to get a higher score, all that. Yes. So
I don't know why the word duper is just making me giggle. I just feel like there's a joke in there or something. And I also have this image of like a ghostly blob, like, hi, I'm duper.
I'm duper. Not in a jar, but and really, really inside joke. Josh and I won't go there right now. Ghost in the jar, shout out. And here's the thing let me school y'all right now. When it comes to getting your duper rating, you play a series of games with a doubles partner, if you're doing your doubles, and you don't control who your partner is. And you just keep rotating partners and rotating games. And your duper rating is based on whether you win or lose, yes, but it depends on the score of the match. So essentially, every single point, win or lose, matters in your duper rating. So what I found myself in the first few matches was, not only was I like, I need to win these matches for my rating, I can't control my partner, who I had some challenging partners. And so now I'm getting frustrated. And internally, I'm a great teammate. But internally, I'm getting frustrated. And I'm noticing the extra pressure I'm putting on myself to win every point. Like every point lost, I'm like noticing my frustration. And I'm like, this is stupid. This is pickleball, right? Right. Beverly's doing the best she can, to Josh's point, right? Yeah. Has she hit every shot into the net and she's killing my duper? Yes, you are, Beverly. And three,
I wouldn't sleep tonight. I would sleep with
all I
both eyes
have to
open tonight, Bev.
play 1 point at a time. So I'm projecting like how the scores of these matches and how it's going to impact my duper. So yes, it was a great classroom for me to get neutral, reset my expectations, reset my intentions, for crying out loud. I just love playing the game. I need to get a duper rating. Who flipping cares what my duper rating is, really? And awesome. This is a great classroom for just play 1 point at a time, and you don't need to project your stuff ahead of what you're doing. I ended up doing pretty well. My my duper, I was limited to how high it could be, but it was a great class from Josh for getting neutral. Yeah.
I have so many images in my head of you, just like the I just have the movie projection of like, here you are calm and serene on the
Yeah.
outside, but then like the movie
Inside.
projector goes into your brain, and then you're just
Yes.
like just blowing up, blowing people's hair back, and just screaming
Bend
at
your
Carl.
knees, Beverly, and move your feet.
Come on, Carl, over the damn net. What are we doing?
Yeah,
I just have that image, but it's
it
awesome.
wasn't Carl. It was some. I almost said his name, but I don't know. Maybe he listens to the podcast. I won't say
Carl
it.
and Bev.
So there's my Nooch Nugget, and of course,
Love it.
dipping that in some pickle juice.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's really good. That's
pickle
really
juice.
good.
All right, Josh. So I've lowered the bar.
Yes, we have.
Talking about
Completely.
my adult pickleball guys. But you and I, Josh, we've had the opportunity to work with elite teams, elite athletes.
Yes,
And I think sometimes there can be this misconception that like we're talking a whole different language and concepts and principles that are so complex and with like elite athletes compared to what a youth athlete might be dealing with. And I think in a lot of ways, they're really not. They're not. They're simple. They're not easy, but it's the same principles and the same ideas. Obviously, with elite athletes, they've got years and years of experience to be able to execute and understand themselves a little bit better. But but at the end of the day, the principles and the concepts are the same. Yeah, I thought for this podcast, let's talk about what a few of those concepts might be, and how help the parents and also help some of these athletes maybe apply them to what they're doing right now and prepare them for the summer and the fall.
Yeah, and I think we can kind of look at it like this, Travis. Like, what did you notice that the elites just do that most maybe other people don't do? And that's pretty simple. And I'll start off. I think one of the first things that I've noticed that elite athletes do is it begins before it begins.
Yeah.
It begins before it begins. They prepare themselves mentally and physically before they ever pick up their glove, their ball, their stick, their whatever, their cleats they put up before they put on their cleats. They are doing things to prime their mind and prime their body to be able to perform. Some of those things could be simply doing a crossword puzzle. Sometimes it's just as simple as that, where they start doing a crossword puzzle to get their mind right. Sometimes it could be, visualizing and mental rehearsal. Sometimes it could be watching highlights. It could be a number of different things, but they're not getting off of Instagram and scrolling, X or TikTok and then walking straight on the field. They are setting aside an hour and a half to 2 hours prior to a game to get their mind right and their body right.
I love that. And from your experience, is there a particular team or a particular athlete that comes to mind, Josh, when you think of someone who, it begins before it begins? Is there someone who you're like, yeah, like they were such a great example of that preparation?
One of the best examples I've had the pleasure of just observing and watching, and it's written about in a couple books, so there's no confidentiality breach here, is a guy named John Lester, who's a left-handed pitcher for the Cubs and the Red Sox, who beat cancer and is, showed up for 30 starts a year as a starting pitcher in those organizations, World Series champion with the Red Sox and the Cubbies. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy is just a gamer. And he had his game day routine, like when he was because he was a starter, so he played every 5 days.
Yeah.
He would do the concentration grid. He would go over and he would do the whole grid. from 0 to 100
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, 55 to 54, go all the way around, do the whole grid, get his mind right. He'd visualize, he'd go over the scouting report, he'd have conversations with his catcher, and he would just get his mind right. And this was, legitimately one of the most mentally tough guys I've ever seen. We asked him one time in spring training, how many, how many times do you go out on the mound? 30 starts a year. How many times do you go out there and you feel like 100%, like all your stuff is working and you're ready to go? He's like, maybe 3. So here was a guy
yeah,
who always just showed up no matter how good he felt. And he
yeah.
just was there. And part of that was his mental routine and doing that. So I definitely learned a lot just by watching him. He was amazing. He was such a great guy too. And then he had stuff in game too that would help him kind of clean away bad pitches and things.
Yeah, yeah, so to find those mental resets and just
Yeah.
come back to the moment, yeah. Oh, what a great example. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think an idea that comes to me and is, we at Limitless Minds, we talk about do simple better. And similar to that phrase, I catch myself using with athletes a lot is make the complex simple. And so I think a lot of times there's a misconception, Josh, with like pro athletes that because the stage is so big, it means that they're thinking about so much, right? Well, because it's a big game, they're thinking about the millions of people that are watching, and they're thinking about the salary that's on the line, and they're thinking about the stakes and the outcomes and the results and all that. Now, granted, are they probably thinking about that stuff at some point? Yeah, they are, right? Maybe in between games or when they're preparing for it. Uh, they're human. They're going to think about, hey, if we won this, I'm a champion. If I lose this, if I have a good day, I might get a contract and all these different things. But when it comes down to getting into competition mode and game mode, when it comes down to stepping on the field or getting in the ring or stepping on the court, they've gone through a process where they're now not thinking about all those things that are essentially distractions. They're just focused on the actual game itself. And instead of thinking about the 10 or 12 things that they need to do well, they're thinking about maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? 2 or 3 things, right? Do simple better. Take the complex. Like, even to think about like John Lester, right? He's probably thinking about, right, 2 or 3 specific things that he wants to execute really well during that game, right? Where obviously I work with a lot of soccer players. So I'm talking to them about, hey, in this game, in your specific position, what are 2 or 3 things that you need? And again, Josh, like we talk about, getting neutral helps us shift from our feelings to our behaviors,
Yeah.
right? When you're, with parents, when we're talking to our kids, I do this with my own kids all the time. I'll say like, hey, buddy, like, hey, man, like I'll often text them, hey, hey, have a great game today. What are the 2 or 3 things you're focused on to have a good game?
Yeah.
Again, we talk about like not controlling our child's experience. I'm asking him or her, right? What do you think you need to do well? And they're thinking now about specific behaviors. I need to make sure that I'm communicating really well to my teammates. I need to make sure that I'm challenging for every 50-50 ball, every duel. Like if I'm talking to a forward, it might be, I need to make sure I'm creating space to receive the ball.
Yeah.
So now they're thinking about the specific actions. And so I'm like, yeah, all right, go out there, create space. Awesome, create space. And when you create space, get the ball, what are you going to do? Like, all right, I need to run it. I need to run at the defender and either beat him or distribute. Awesome. Now they're focused on 2 or 3 specific things. Now they've got a focus that helps them execute, stay in the moment, stay in the action, stay in the activity to do simple better. Not by thinking about 1,000 things or a dozen things, but by focusing on maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, I love that. I think that you see it all the time in youth sport where maybe the coach gives too many things to the players where it's
Right.
like, hey, we got to do this and then we're going to run this play and we're going to do
Yes.
that and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you're just like, they're not going to remember any of
No.
that. Good luck, So the whole key is, yeah, do simple better. Get down to those like 2 to 3 things,
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to give great effort. Awesome. Sick. Let's go. And I think I think elites do that really, really well where they make the complex pretty simple and they can just kind of bear down and like, okay, this pitcher struck me out with a cutter. I'm going to sit cutter today. That's it.
Mhm.
Like whatever it might be. Or, this guy overs plays me to the left. fantastic. I'm going to let them do that. I'm going to cut right and look to dump it off, like whatever it might be. Or, I'm going to rebound better today, or what, again, like you said, but you just give them those 2 to 3 things to attach to. And I think a lot of times that can help them, the athletes, really, really take off.
I love that. I love that. And working with a few different athletes, we often talk about like what's the game within the game, right? And you're talking about the resilience of Arsenal,
Yeah.
right? The game within the game, like obviously we want to go out and win games, but what's the game within the game that we're playing from the mental standpoint, which is how quickly can we be resilient when there has been a setback?
Yeah.
Right. Like in game, like, hey, you talked about the last podcast having a mental shot clock, right? How long am I going to give myself when I have a setback? What, 24 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes before I then focus on re-engaging, refocusing the next play, the next at bat, the next moment, the next shot, the next. And so, I try to relieve a little bit of the pressure from the players, a little bit like, you don't have to be perfect, but how quickly, when something goes wrong, how quickly can you refocus and re-engage? That's the game within the game.
Yeah.
So
We often used to say, be present, not perfect.
love that.
Be present,
Yeah.
not perfect. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as soon as we can help remove some of that pressure, by going, oh, like I don't have to be perfect. No, you don't need to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect. Don't try to be perfect. How quickly can you respond when something goes wrong? Let's keep decreasing that mental shot clock after a mistake. Well, hey Josh, be present, not perfect. Like, what's that look like? How does an athlete, or especially a youth athlete, how do they put that to work?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things is they have a reset routine. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that the elites, they all have something they can go to when things aren't going right. And so they a lot of times it's something as simple as something we call a focal point.
Okay.
They have a place to look to reset. So for example, a lot of the baseball players, they would step out of the batter's box and they would look up to the top of the foul pole, because there was a foul pole at every single stadium.
Yeah.
And they would just look at that for a second, and they would take a deep breath and they would exhale, and they would come back to the present. Sometimes a pitcher would walk behind the mound and just kick a piece of dirt away, just swipe it away with their foot, like, I'm throwing this away.
Yeah.
And so sometimes just having that little reset to physically reset, to physically do something, to get your eyes somewhere else, to get to a focal point, that can help somebody get really present and in the here and the now and let go of the past. Because that's a big key, right? It's a big key to be able to do that. And so I think that's one of the things too that youth athletes can do really easily, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
here I am, and I'm I had a turnover, or I missed a free throw. Take that deep breath. Just get back. What's next? Where can I go? What's the next thing? Like, maybe on the next time out, I look up at the scoreboard and I just take a big exhale. I look at one little light in the scoreboard, and I release it, something to that nature. So I think that focal point is a really, really big one in a reset routine.
Well, I love using that word reset, right? And for a youth coach, or even for a parent out there, how often do we hear that phrase? You'll hear you need to hit the reset button. Your coaches are, guys, we need to hit the reset button. But how often though, Josh, has that coach or the parent actually talked with the child or the athlete? It's one thing to hit the reset button, but if I haven't set what I'm supposed to be focused on, hitting reset doesn't do anything, right? So having that, it begins before it begins. That's why, again, hey, what are the 2 or 3 things you want to focus on today? Well, when I hit the reset button, I go back to those 2 or 3 things, right? I want to play today. I want to play today loose and free. When I hit that reset button, what I go back to today, I wanted to be loose and free. And so oftentimes you'll hear a coach yell, guys, reset. It's like reset to what? We didn't talk about what we're supposed to be set to. So I just love, the focal point. I love the simplicity of that. And again, something that's physical. I know, Matt Turner, when I was with the national team, Matt didn't use a focal point, but he would give himself a specific word for that game. Like, so when he would notice himself getting distracted, he would notice it, and then he would come back to the word that he was using sort of as his intention or his mantra for the game.
So he wouldn't slam his head against the post and like kick the post for 3
No,
minutes and then just like yell
no.
at the ground for 3 minutes after that? No, you
That's
can do
a
that.
that's a flashback to Josh, Harry, and I watching a live professional game recently and seeing the goalkeeper have a complete
Meltdown.
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 It even happens to the pros.
The best.
Yes. So so for especially for for parents and for athletes that are listening, like yes, like these ideas are super simple, and even the best athletes in the world, right, still have breakdowns and they lose their cool and they lose their focus and they lose their attention. But if you want to have, we say like mindset is a competitive advantage, Josh, right? So for you athletes and parents that are listening, to start to apply some of these really, really simple concepts, but if you're applying them and you're the athlete at the tryout that doesn't get rattled when things go wrong, if you're the athlete at the tryout that's being a good teammate, if you're the athlete that is, constantly focusing on the next moment or the next play, that's mindset that's going to translate into performance. And
Love
so
it.
that can be the separator.
Without a doubt. And I think you do see it. Coaches do notice. They do notice. They notice effort. They notice teamwork. They notice lifting each other up. They notice, doing the little things. And the higher you go, the more important those become.
Yeah.
So,
And we're going to get to some of those in our future episodes here of the summer series. But today we just wanted to share what some of those elite athletes actually do.
and success leaves clues. So if the best of the best can do it, so can your son and daughter.
If you haven't listened to episode 1 and 2 before this, go back and listen to them. Josh will tell you can find us on LinkedIn, Josh or myself, Josh Lifrak, Travis Thomas, or go to the Limitless Minds page, or find us wherever on YouTube. Jump into the comments, jump to the feedback. Josh and I are super accessible and would love to keep the dialogue going with you beyond the podcast. I'm a Michiganer.
Podcast. Be perfect. Be perfect. No, you're not being perfect, Travis.
Hey,
How
listen to
dare
the
you mess that up?
podcast.
What are you,
Listen to
idiot?
the podcast. Come on now. Listen to the
podcast.
podcast.
The
The
podcast.
podcast. The podcast.
Be present.
Be present. You don't need to be sick to get better, You don't need
You
to be
don't
sick to
need
get
to
better.
be sick to get better.